What's up, my people? It's your girl with Tomboy Chronicles, back in the States after getting a couple of days to readjust my sleep schedule. I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do a recap of the whole trip. I know I did a Vietnam part 1 and part 2. That wasn't the end of my trip. It was 13 days for me to get back to home base, and it was an exciting journey. It was the longest I've ever been away on any type of trip. Maybe stuff is South by Southwest, but of course that was for work. I think we was there for 11 days, so I'm still beat out South by Southwest 2018. So, but the trip, basically, I probably flew, let's see, 5 different airlines. I went to 8 different cities, 5 different countries, and 3 different continents in those 13 days. So very exciting. First, I want to talk about the airlines. I was fortunate enough to sit in business class. The majority of my flights were in business class, aside from the Vietnam Air flights that we took from Korea to Vietnam. Actually, I was sitting in business class on that flight from Korea to Vietnam. And when we flew in between the cities in Vietnam, those were economy. But I would like to say that the best flight situation I had was my very last flight to Charlotte on Lufthansa. I think that's how I said it. I've never heard of that airline, but their business class was, I wasn't in the very front where the cubicles are, if you know what I'm talking about. If you flown internationally, there wasn't a cubicle area, but I was in the step behind that. And even in that section, the seats went all the way back so I could lay completely flat. And it was a 9-hour flight, so it was great to be able to lay down and go to sleep comfortably, and everything about that flight was great until we landed. We had to sit there for 40 minutes. But other than that, out of all of the airlines, out of the flights I took, I think I took, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. I took 8 flights, so that one was the best one out of all of them. So shout out to Lufthansa, whatever it is, airlines. As far as the cities I visited, as I stated in the last 2 videos, spent 8 days in Vietnam, and the first part of that trip we were in Ho Chi Minh, and we viewed the Cu Chi tunnels, and again, it was an experience of a lifetime. I just love hearing about history and things that we do as humans that it just seems like unbearable and unfathomable, especially this time of age, to do certain things. And like just going in the tunnels and seeing how these people lived and how they traveled underground, and me not even be able to do it for 20 kilometers, 60 feet. Technically, I couldn't even get through 60 feet, but without breaking down and, having to get out to breathe and to function. So, learning about that, and then going to Hue, visiting the empires, their palace, their city that they lived in, and seeing that, and also heading over to Da Nang and being at the Ba Na Hills, and experiencing the Golden Bridge, and looking at things that people create. And these things that they create are so beautiful. The hands on that bridge and made out of stone, and the big Buddha and all of that. Just to experience those things, and spending time with my friend, and then seeing the traditions in Vietnam, and being at a traditional Vietnamese wedding was a new experience as well as a planner. Seeing experiencing different cultures, and of course here in the States, I've done plenty of events where there are different nationalities, plenty of different types of weddings, and learning their culture, learning how they do things is so important to me and what I do. So being there hands-on in Vietnam and being a part of the Vietnamese experience as far as their wedding ceremony and their reception was a great experience. And first part of that trip with Vietnam is I was with friends, and we experienced a lot of different foods. We had great conversations. We did the massages. I think the biggest thing that I missed is the $18 60-minute massage, and it was an acupressure massage. So it was great. So I got 3 of them. So every 3 days, I got one the day I got there. I got one 3 days after that, and I got one the day I left. So I just felt great the whole time. It was a wonderful experience. And I went from Vietnam into Doha, Qatar. And it was a challenge getting on my flight because I actually had to change my clothes twice to be in the proper attire to sit in the business class and take the flight, which was a little stressful. Got there pretty late and had a meeting when I got there, met about some business, and then the next day had another meeting in the afternoon to talk about business. But being there, I was on the beach side, so I got to experience this pool and things like that. Saw the different architecture. It wasn't too many buildings I can go in because of the dress code, unless I was going to wear the Vietnamese clothes that I had. It was really hot. It was really hot. It was like 109 degrees in Doha, and it felt like 120. But the city of Doha, the country of Qatar, is so beautiful, and it looks like they're constantly building these big buildings. The architecture is beautiful there. Everything about it was beautiful. And I kind of handled some music. My friend told me like this second part of the trip was my eat, pray, love adventure, because I guess I was on my own. It's crazy. Like I said, you gotta be careful, and you gotta be intentful of what you put out into the atmosphere. I just said a month ago that I wanted to travel somewhere by myself and experiencing being by myself to travel. Although the trip started off with people, the last part of my trip I was alone. I traveled alone and navigated that situation great. Like, sometimes you put yourself in a situation where if you're not comfortable with being somewhere by yourself, you stick to just staying inside, not venturing out, not doing anything unless it's already planned and paid for, stuff like that. You might take a trip and then be afraid to go out and do things and experiences. So I'm glad I wasn't in that frame of mind. And again, Doha was beautiful. The people that I was there meeting with, they showed me a couple of places, things they're really trying to entice me with this location. But I got to experience the nightlife there on a Wednesday. It went up on a Wednesday, so I got to experience the nightlife. It was great to see so many different nationalities, and I'll get to that part in a second, but just in one place, and people like enjoying the same music that we listen to from all different cultures and things like that. And so it was a wonderful experience. And I left out of there and flew into Istanbul, Turkey. Never been to Turkey. Never been to Istanbul. So I was able to put my luggage in. I had like a 9-hour layover, so I was able to put my luggage in the business lounge and venture out and do a tour in Istanbul. One thing I learned about that is Istanbul sits in 2 continents. It sits in Asia and Europe. There's an Asian side and there's a Europe side. So we toured both sides and looking at different, of course, structures, hearing the history about certain things there. Of course, they mentioned that a lot of the 007s were filmed in Istanbul, and different places they showed us where there was filming of those movies, like Skyfall, and I forgot the other one. But yeah, so it was interesting learning about that and learning different things there, and trying. I think yogurt is really big over there, but I wasn't in the mood for yogurt because I didn't want to be sick, just in case. So, but I enjoyed that experience. Just be able to get out of the airport and then drive in through the city and see these homes are stacked on top of each other in Istanbul. I just want to say, but again, it reminds me of like, I don't know, like it looked like a little German town, but I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah, so went to Istanbul and then flew from there to Munich, Germany. Unfortunately, I got there at night, so my 15-hour layover was mostly spent in a hotel room trying to sleep. And then met the person that did the transfer. So I talked to the person that did the hotel transfer from the hotel to the airport, and they told me some things, and I learned a couple of things, and basically like there was nothing you were going to do at 8 o'clock in the morning but go to the bar in Munich. Everything is closed. And I'm like, the bar? But I plan to go back so I can at least experience that. So flew from Munich into Charlotte, North Carolina. So shout out to Charlotte. Last trek of my trip, and I flew right into an event. So it was like hurry up and get there. I ended up being 30 minutes late not because of the airline, but more because of the airport. But thank God I had global entry, so I didn't have to wait in that line. And got to the event and worked the event on Friday and Saturday and got myself back home, and that was on the 13th. So it was a great experience. So what I want to touch on is cultures and nationality. One thing I learned, like in Doha, I was told that never try to assume you know what someone's nationality is. There's so many different people there, you know, from Egypt and Germany and different parts of the world, Asia, India, big Indian community out there. So it's like you never want to guess. So I think my biggest thing on this trip was I noticed in Vietnam there were next to no other black people there but me and the people that was there for the wedding. When I say in Ho Chi Minh, only black people I saw were the 11 people at this wedding. And when we went to Hue, we ran into some people from Uganda. So if you want to consider that black, they're not, but you know, people of color. So that was the only other time I saw other people of color, and how they looked at us. It wasn't disrespectful, but it was like we were some exotic creatures. I think I mentioned in the last video, like the whole touching of the hair was real. They do it here in the States, but it was really like, oh my gosh. And I was like, no, I'm not a pet. You can't touch my hair. You know, you can't do any of that. No, leave my hair alone. Don't touch it, whatever. But it was just a strange feeling, because first you felt like they dismissed you being there and you're not one of them. So it seemed kind of dismissive at times. But when we were at the wedding and we was in the traditional garbs and everything, and when the drinks start flowing, you know, they started talking. They started getting in your face and telling you you're beautiful. Oh, I want to touch your hair and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, having someone translate and telling us what they're saying and things like that. I thought to myself, I knew it. It don't matter what I wear. I could wear a trash bag. Somebody's still going to see the inner me, you know. So me and my friends did experience that, where it was a change in where people were more vocal and they wanted us to know what they thought. So they had someone translate like what they were thinking and what they thought about us and how grateful they were for us being there to come so far to support the union. So that was it. That was there. And then, like I said, in Doha, it was in Istanbul, it was kind of the same thing. It was not that many people of color there, and I felt out of place, but no one said anything or did anything disrespectful or treated me any kind of way. Kind of felt out of place. And you know, only time I felt comfortable is I went into the gas station because I was waiting on my Uber to come, and I went to the gas station. The gas attendant, he was just, where are you from, and blah blah blah. Oh, I would love to go to the U.S. Blah blah blah. And I was like, is he flirting or he's just really inquisitive? Like, that's the only sense of someone that found me interesting that I got from being there. It's kind of like, you know, you're just a nobody here. So, you know, which is fine, because that means that I wasn't drawing unnecessary attention to myself, which is okay. But when, I guess sometimes you get in your head when you're somewhere by yourself, you're in another country, you don't know anybody, and you're out here. And usually how I walk around, like, we all look the same, and that's how I kind of move. And sometimes you get snapped into reality, like, no, you're not. You don't look like everyone else, because they're looking at you a certain way, like, where did she come from, you know? So that was the experience in Istanbul. But like I said, in Doha, in the clubs, it was just a different mixture of people and cultures. And I think I said to somebody, I was like, you know, do I look American? Does being American have a look to it? And that's when they was like, you can't assume anything. And here, everybody asks where you from, because we'll never assume, and you don't have like American accent. Like, you can't detect if that's an American accent. So when I got to Germany, like I said, the guy that does the transfers to the airport, I asked him the same thing. I was like, do I sound American? He was like, yeah, it was these girls we have from California. And I was like, well, they was like, oh my God, it's so crazy. Oh my God, let's go surfing. He was like, yeah, exactly. He was like, you don't have, wouldn't be able to tell that you're American from the way you talk. He's like, I can tell you're American because of your confidence. And he's having like a language barrier. But I was trying to, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the way you walk and the way you carry yourself is with confidence. And that's how I could tell you were American. And it took me aback because I think I needed to hear that. Because when you hear and you're just in it every day and grinding and just doing stuff every day and living your life, you're like, where do I stand out? Where do I fit in, and where do I excel at, and whatever. So me being somewhere by myself, I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably being shy, blah blah blah. But somebody's like, no, confidence exudes from you. And I felt that. And just because that person, a stranger, told me that, I was walking into the airport after that conversation, like, yeah, be confident, be okay with who you are, and walk in that confidence. Don't allow, when you get in the midst of others, to try to dim your light. You're gonna always shine regardless. Even when you're not trying to shine, you're gonna always shine. And other people will let you know. So a stranger will just let you know, like, yeah, you exude confidence. And it's like, there's nothing more than, he was like, I can't explain it, but it's just like you seem confident, because I'm like, I don't know anybody here, so yes, I'm gonna talk to everybody. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Like, oh yeah, you need to sit right here, whatever. Where you from? What's the best place to go? Whatever. But that hit me right there, and I felt emotional about that quick conversation. And I was like, all Americans is confidence because we think we're cocky and we're just entitled. Like, what is? Let me make sure it's not nothing bad. And he was like, no, it's not anything bad, but it's great. But yeah, so those different places, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about others. And dealing with OCD and anxiety, it was definitely put to the test in those 2 weeks, because I'm so used to having a set plan, and a plan staying set and fit, and I'm in a situation where I was kind of thrown in. You don't even know if you're going to get back home, and that was something that I had to overcome. And then it was like, oh, you're going to have to get in this bucket and go up 15 minutes up the side of a mountain in this cable car, and you're afraid of heights. You got to get through it. Here's this bridge. You're going to have to walk this bridge. You're going to have to walk the bridge. You have to do this. You have to do that. These things are going on back home. Are you going to focus on that, or are you going to stay in this moment? So it was a lot of challenges throughout the trip, but I would not take anything back. The experience was a once in a lifetime experience. And even with the flights back home, I was supposed to fly from Vietnam to Doha to Philly, and come on back to Atlanta, but it ended up sending me through some other countries that I'd never been to before, and making the choice to get outside of the airport and see these different places that I may never visit again, and taking it as a blessing. I was like really frazzled. I might be late. I'm almost on time for everything that I do. I don't want to be late for the wedding rehearsal, blah blah blah. But just took it all in and say, this is where God wants me to be. Get me to a place of calmness, and spend time to myself in prayer and thought, and visualize where I want to be when I got back here. And so when I got back here, I was really tired, so I wanted to be in bed and asleep, because I ended up having to drive back home on the 13th, and trying to readjust myself back to a regular sleep schedule, because I'm still living 11 hours into the future technically. So for me right now, it's probably like 11 p.m. at night, 11:30 at night for me, and I'm probably starting to get tired and want to go to bed. But I'll work through that and adjust. But it's like coming back here and saying, okay, I'll deal with this stuff when I get here. And of course, everything comes at you fast, and so it's came at me fast the last couple of days. But the experience is wonderful. I am going to post the recap video, because I did post every day of my trip on my other social media accounts. I'm just going to make one whole video of all those 1 minute videos, so it's probably going to be like 13 minutes long just to go through. Well, 12 minutes long, because I didn't post on the 13th day, because I was just driving home on the 13th. It is what it is. So I'm glad you guys followed this journey with me. A lot of people checked in on those Instagrams and on TikTok to see the day-to-day updates. They commented and tell me, oh, you go girl, whatever, or I love this place, I love that place, you should try this out, different things. So it was an experience of a lifetime. I do plan on making more of those experiences, because I still got another couple of continents that I haven't been to, and that's on my bucket list, to hit every continent except for Antarctica. So hopefully I can knock out a couple of, head down to Australia and check that out too. So just wanted to give you guys a recap of the whole experience I had. I know I could go into more details, but at least those little 1 minute clips will show you like what we did, and an experience. So as always, live your dreams, and love yourself and love each other. I love you. God bless.